Everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Damos in the Class. Thank you for joining us for another awesome episode. Today, we're going to dive straight into long division using estimation. Today's aim is how you can use compatible numbers to estimate quotients. So today's first problem is Jameer and his friends are placing books on the shelf in the media center. There are 966 books to be placed on 42 shelves. Estimate how many shelves they will use if they put an equal number of books on each shelf. All right, so we have 966 books. We're going to divide that by the 42 shelves. So the first thing we need to do is figure out how many groups of 42 that we need to reach 96. So the best way to do is 42 times 2. And so 2 times 2 is what, Jamir?
2 times 4.
All right. And 2 times 4 is how much?
8.
All right, so we get 84. And it's safe to say that 84 is as close as we can get to 96 when we're doing by 42. So we're going to go ahead and take that 2, those 2 groups, and we're going to do that multiplication again. So that means 2 times 42, we have the answer. It's how much, Jamir?
84.
All right, so we're going to put the 84 right here up underneath the 96, so we can subtract that from there. Now, we have 6 take away 4 is how much?
6. 2.
All right. And then 9 take away 8 is?
1.
All right. And then we're just going to bring down our 6. Now we have a new number of 126. Now, we need to do the same thing. We need to know how many groups of 42 can we get to get either at 126 or as close as we can get. So we already know that 2 groups gave us 84. That's not close enough. So we're going to try to go one more time. There's 2 ways you could do that. You could either add 42 to this, which I'm going to show you. You can add 42, or you could just do a whole new equation, which is 42 times 3. I'm going to do both. So I'm going to show you. So now 3 times 2 is how much?
6.
All right. And 3 times 4 is how much?
12.
All right, great job. So now we got our 126. So we also could have did that too. After doing 4 times 2 is 84. All we had to do, we could have just added another 42. And if we do that, we should have the same answer as this. So let's just see. We got 4 plus 2 is how much? Jamia, how much is 4 plus 2?
7. 6.
All right. And 8 plus 4?
8 plus 4 equals 12.
There we go. So, you see, we have our 126. So, there's either which way you want to do it. You can add them, but we're doing multiplication and division, so please get comfortable with doing multiplication. So, that took us 3 groups to get to 42. So 126. 3 groups of 42 got us to 126. So, we put our 3 over top of the 6. We do the multiplication again, which is just what we already know. 3 times 42 is 126. We write that up underneath the 126 that we have. And now we know that 126, take away 126, leaves us with nothing. So therefore, the answer is going to be 23. But is that really the answer? No. For this problem, it's not. We said we're estimating. So what's the rules of estimation? Do you remember, Jamir?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's tell the people what the rules are. So the rules, we have rules to estimate, right? And so let's share the rules. We got 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what's the rule for those numbers?
They stay the same.
Exactly, stays the same. Then we have 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And what happens with that?
They go up.
It goes up. That is correct, John man. Great job. So, with that being said, we're going to look at this 3 here in the ones. And what is the rule for 3? We have it right here. What is the rule for 3, Jamia?
Stay the same.
So that means our 2 stays the same. So this 2 is not just a 2, it's in the tens place, correct?
Yeah.
So that makes this a 20, really? So when we round, we drop off the 3 because now this is telling us that this 2 is going to stay the same, which means it's going to stay the value of 20. So for this problem, the answer would be 20 shelves that they would need in order to put 42 books on each shelf. All right, so for our next problem, Jalea had 544 inches of yarn. She is going to decorate 17 picture frames with the yarn. If Jalea divides the yarn equally between the 17 picture frames, estimate how much yarn would she have for each picture frame. All right, so in order to work that problem, we know we have 544 inches of yarn. We're going to divide that because they say equally. So we're going to divide that by the 17. So now, same thing. 17 cannot go into 5. 17 can go into 54. So that's what we're looking at. So now we need to figure out how many groups of 17 does it take to get us to the 54. So this is when, if you know your multiplication facts, it makes it really easy. But if you don't and you're still struggling, my advice is to always start out with times 2 and work your way up. So 7 times 2 is what?
7 times 2 is 14.
All right, so we got the 4, and we're going to carry that 1 right over top the other one. 2 times 1?
Equals 2.
Plus 1?
3.
All right, that gives us 34. That didn't get us close enough. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go one more time. 17 times 3, or you can add to 17. Whichever one you prefer to do. I'm just going to keep showing you 17 times 3. Do you know what 17 times 3 is? 7 times 2 is 14, so it's 7 times 3. You're at 14. You need to count up 7 more if you don't know.
15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
All right. So like we said, what is 7 times 3, Jamia? Either you can add 7 to the 14, or that's the easiest way in your head. 7 times 3 is what?
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
All right, 21. So we got that 1. We're going to carry our 2 over. 3 times 1 is what?
3.
Plus 2?
5.
All right, so now we get to 51. 51 is going to get us most likely the closest that we can get. So that took 3 groups. So we put our 3 over the 4. We repeat that multiplication, which is 17 times 3. We put our 51 up underneath the 54. And now we're just going to subtract. So we got 4 take away 1, which is just being at 1 counting up to 4. So what's the answer? We got 4 take away 1.
3.
All right, and now we're just going to bring down that 4, and that's going to give us another number of 34. But if you realize, when we first started, we did 17 times 2, and that got us the 34 that we needed. So we should already know that it's 2 groups that we need to get us to 34. So we're going to write our 2 here. We do the multiplication again, which is 2 and 17, gives us a 34. We put that right up underneath the 34 that we have. And we know if 34 take away 34 leaves us with 0. And our answer is 32. But that would be the answer if they wanted the exact number. For this, we're estimating. And again, it goes back to the rules. And like we said, the rules for 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are what, Jamia?
It stays the same.
It stays the same. So, because it stays the same, that means the number in our tens, which is a 3, which is really 30, that's what the number becomes. It becomes 30. So the answer for this problem would be 30 inches of yarn that she has for each picture frame. All right. So for our last problem today, there are 224 people waiting for the train. There are 14 train cars. About how many people will be on each train car if there are an equal a number of people on each train car? So we know estimate when we see the word estimate, but also when you see the word about, that is another word for estimate. So that'll let you know that they don't want the exact number, they just want a reasonable number that is close enough to the exact number. And that's what we do when we estimate. Estimate, excuse me. All right, so we had 224 people. We got 14 train cars. So, like I told you, what we always like to do first, 14 cannot go into 2, but it can go into 22. We're not looking at 244, we're just looking at 22. So, the first thing you do to rule it out, if you don't know ahead of time, is 14 times 2. So, what's 2 times 4, Jamir?
8.
All right. And what's 2 times 1?
2.
All right. So, we came up with 28. But 28 is too big, so we cannot use 2 groups. We can only use 1. So 1 times 14 is how much, Jamir?
14.
So we put that 14 right here up underneath the 22, and now we're going to subtract. So when we subtract, we got 2 take away 4. What's that answer?
Let them borrow.
Exactly. So we cannot do 2 take away 4. 2 is too small. We have to borrow from the 2. Great job, John Man, for not forgetting. 2, we borrow 1, we have 1 left. We take the 1 we borrowed, we put it next to that 2, and that becomes now what number?
12.
Exactly. So now we have 12, which is more than enough to take 4 from. So you're at 4, count up to 12.
Equals 8.
All right, great job. So we got 8 here. We bring down our last number, which is a 4. That's going to make it 84. So now we have to do the same thing. We need to figure out how many groups of 14 can we get to 84. So we already have 14 times 2 is 28. So let's try 14 times 3. What's 3 times 4, Jamir?
3 times 4 equals 12.
All right, so we put our 2 here. We carry over our 1. 3 times 1 is how much?
3.
And then we add 1.
4.
All right, that gives us 42. We're not there yet. We have a lot more we need, right? So let's go 14 times 4. 4 times 4 is how much?
16.
All right, great job. So we put our 6 here. We carry the 1. 4 times 1 is how much?
4.
Plus 1.
5.
All right, it gives us 56. We're still not there yet, guys. So we stopped at 4, so let's go 14 times 5. And what's 5 times 4?
20.
All right. And we carry the 2, and 5 times 1 is how much?
5.
Plus 2?
6.
Plus 2.
7.
Exactly. So now we have 70. We're still not there yet. Let's try again. 14 times 6. 6 times 4.
21.
Nope, close.
Equals 24.
Exactly. Good job. 4, we carry the 2. Now, 6 times 1.
Equals 6.
Plus 2.
7, 8.
And there we go. And we got our 84. And how many groups did that take? It took us how many groups, Jamir?
6 groups.
6 groups. So we're going to put that 6 right over top of the 4. We're going to repeat the multiplication. 6 times 14 is how much, Jamir?
84.
There we go. 84. Great job. So 84, take away 84 leaves us with?
0.
There we go. 0. And like we said, 16 is the exact answer. But they want us to round. So Jamir, what's 16 going to turn into if we round?
Going to turn into a 5.
A 5? Where you get a 5 from? What are you looking at? So, what do we look at to even round 16, Jamir?
We look at the 1.
Why are we looking at the 1? The 1 is the one we want to know if it's going to change. What number are we looking at, Jamir?
6.
Okay, so what's the rule for 6, Jamir?
It's going to go up.
Okay, and so what's going up? So we're looking at the 6 to see what happens, right? Anything with the line becomes a 0 and anything behind it, right?
Yeah.
So the number we looking to change is what? That 1. So what's happening to the 1 now?
it's gonna go up to a 0. It's gonna go up to a 2.
Which one is it? You said two different things. I don't know now.
It's a 2.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
You positive? You want to stick with it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That would be right then. 1 goes up to 2, so 16 would be rounded off into 20. So for this problem, the answer would be 20 people about can fit into each car on that train. All right, guys. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you are practicing your multiplication facts because they need to be practiced in order for you to be great at math. And it's not hard as long as you try. The hardest thing is when you don't try. Then everything seems hard. But if you just give it some practice each and every day, I promise you it'll get easier. So it's not about what you don't know. It's always about what you're willing to learn. Till the next time, I hope to see you there.